So, welcome back. It is a beautiful Pennsylvania day. I had to change a hot water tank. I've been on hiatus for a couple weeks because I had to go out of town. And my son and I, well, you see over there in the corner, we picked up skiing. So, yay for us. So, I was busy trying to learn how to ski, which I say is something you should do. But anyway, back to this. Skiing is a lot of fun, but back to this. 2010 Toyota Corolla. We're going to be changing the transmission fluid and filter because this car has hit 100,000 miles. Well, actually a little bit over. I'm a little lazy and a little bit behind. But I'm going to walk you through what tools you're going to need. I'm not going to lay them out. I'll announce them as I go. This should be a short video, pretty straight cut and forward, unless we run into a problem where, for example, the transmission falls apart. I don't know. Alright, let's get this sucker up on jack stands and get under it and see what we need. Alright, pretty straightforward. Those of you that are crawling underneath to do this, you're probably already fairly familiar with the oil drain plug, because I imagine you're doing your own oil changes, and filter location. Well, right next to it is the other pan. And sorry my light's in the way, but I really don't have a better way of doing it. Most transmissions you have to drop the whole pan to get the fluid out. Well, Toyota, God bless their hearts, put a drain plug in. So you need a 10mm Allen wrench, and there it goes. Oh, you need a drain pan too, but ooh, it's a little warm. And there it goes. Alright. I'm gonna let this drain for a little bit while I figure out what size these sockets, these bolts are, and we'll work on buzzing that pan off after all that's out. Okay, out. Peace. Alright, you needed a 10mm Allen wrench for that plug, which is now dripping, but you also need a 10mm socket. See if I can do this on camera, one-handed, to loosen all these bolts up. I counted 19 of them. Let me know if you count anything different in the comments below, because, hey, I've been off before, once or twice. I recommend at this point, too, so you don't lose it, that you go ahead and reinstall your drain plug, because if you're taking the pan down, that thing will drain forever, but you'll never actually get it all, and you'll be here for another week of Tuesdays. Tight. Okay, now I'll buzz these off, and then I'll drop that pan off and I'll show you what we got. Alright, all I can say is whenever you take yours off, I'm used to them sticking, so I went ahead and ran all the bolts out, but believe it or not, sorry if you can't see on camera, believe it or not, that pan just dropped like a rock and fell into the oil, which was just spectacular. Splash everywhere. But it looks like we got 3 more bolts holding that sucker in. They look to be 10mm each. And these are your shift servo solenoids. There's a couple of them, in case you're wondering. Oh, and that gasket just peeled right off. Like, I don't even have to buff anything. That's just spectacular. I love this car. God's honest, if my wife is to buy another car again, I'd tell her to buy another toilet. I mean, look at this. I don't know if you can see it, but there's very little, if any, rust on it. I mean, I know you can see rust right there, but this car has been in Pennsylvania its entire life, and it's almost rust-free. Like, you should see the underside of my truck. But anyway, back to it. I'm going to buzz this off, run to the parts store, make sure I get the right one, and be right back. Alright, another pro tip. When you take those 10mm bolts out, those 3 of them, they are 10mm. Keep in mind that that sucker's full of fluid and can fall and hit your pan and make a mess all over the floor. Yeah, it's gonna be a day full of kitty litter today, I tell you. We're almost done though, and I'm only like 10 minutes into this job, so that's awesome. Okay, off to the parts store. Alright, we just got back from the parts store, my local Napa. And this is the filter and gasket kit. Don't be a cheap button, just buy the filter. Buy the gasket too. But right there's the part number 3632410. And come around here to the front of the engine. I got the dipstick tube pulled out, but there's your dipstick tube. I got the dipstick itself pulled out. And what's really nice, if I can get this to focus, you got a hot and a cool high and low mark on this thing. God, I love this Toyota. I'm sorry. I'm really glad my wife bought this car. I think she should buy like 3 more of them with a warranty, so I don't have to get under them like this. But no, we'll get this one back up and running. This will be my daughter's car probably someday. Soon. Not too soon, but soon. Anyway, back to business. I'm going to cut this out of the plastic and get it back under there. One other thing to note is make sure your filter has the O-ring on it. And whenever you reinstall it, make sure that the O-ring is not stuck up inside of here. I like to get the camera on it. Take and just put just a little bit of the ATF on that O-ring so it slides up in, and then you can take it. Try to do this one-handed. Put it up in, and I'm not gonna be able to do this one-handed, so I'm gonna put the camera down. But I'm gonna put this in, put those bolts in, and then we'll make sure that the transpan gasket lines up and stick that on. Okay, be back in a minute. Alright, here is transpan with the new gasket installed. Like I said, the old one just peeled right off, but you might have to scrape it. Now, the other thing you want to do is find your magnets and just check them. There's a little bit of gook on them. Oops, sorry. Wasn't looking through the camera. There's a little bit of gook on them. That's not bad, but just make sure there's nothing huge on them. And I like to give them a good wipe off and just put them back in. Good enough. Alright, and then what I'll do a lot of times is I'll take on opposite sides of the pan. I'll put a bolt through, hold them up, start one on each side, whether it be front, back, left, right, up, down, doesn't really matter. Actually, this pan sits underneath the car this way because that's the front of the car, and that's the front of the pan, and that back was the drain. But you get the idea. Alright, I'm going to set this up and screw it on. Alright, one thing to keep in mind too, make sure you get a good quality transmission fluid, and you see on there recommended for GM, Ford, Toyota, and Honda models. The reason it says most is because of course you got your CV drive, your constant variable transmissions, which takes a different oil. But anyways, I put 4 of the 5 quarts I bought in, and right now we're not showing any signs of any leakage. What I'm going to do is get in the car, start it up, run it through the gears, and the reason for that is I'm not checking the level yet, is because that filter and everything is still empty, so everything needs to kind of pump through and circulate. So I'm going to get in, I'm going to move it through all the gears, let the fluid move around, fill up all the nooks, crannies, and crevices, and then if we still don't have any leaks, we're going to consider it's done. No, I did not have to pull the tires off to do this. I did that because, well, these are her winter shoes. I got summer shoes downstairs, and it's 75 degrees out now. Wait, here we go. I know. Alright, we're doing roughly 50 mile an hour. She shifted up through all the gears. I picked up my co-pilot, who's about to take over filming. Alright, so we'll have it looking at me. Alright, so we did the filter change. I know it's dark out right now, but honestly that whole filter and fluid change took about 15-20 minutes tops, and the other hour and a half I spent changing the stupid wheels out because the lug nuts get rusty on there.
And it's hard to pull them out.
Yeah, they get stuck in the socket, and then I gotta take and beat every one of them out. That happens every time, every winter. But those aren't Toyota lug nuts. They're cheapies I bought, so I can't fault them for it, but this car is good to go. I've even mashed it. She said it had a little trouble shifting up through the gears. I think that solved that problem. I don't know if the filter was getting clogged or if the fluid was just getting a little, run down. But other than that, I'm gonna go. We put about 4 quarts in it. I'll check it again later. I'm not gonna film that probably just to make sure that it's at the appropriate level. But I think, George, we can call this project done. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. This is GSE Shops signing off, and sayonara.
Goodbye.
Close it.